Good morning. It's Joe. This is the Joe Madden Sports Podcast, and I'm joined this morning by Jay Spence. You can find him on Twitter as Jay Spence the King, contributor at Buffalo Rumbling on SB Nation. Jay Spence, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to this. I couldn't wait to talk to you.
I've been excited for this too. We've had planning, scheduling issues for the last couple of weeks, but I'm excited to be here. We've got to talk about your Buffalo Bills today, but first let's talk about you and how you got started in this industry. Have you always loved sports?
I have. I've always loved sports. Basketball is actually my favorite sport. And so coming up, I was a huge basketball fan, but Buffalo didn't have a team. So like our closest team was Toronto, and then Cleveland is actually even closer than the Knicks. So it was like, I don't like Cleveland. I don't want to be a Knicks guy. So kind of just didn't have the same type of energy as we did for the Buffalo Bills. So it kind of took over my life. I didn't actually plan to do a pod. So I moved to Phoenix right before Donald Trump shut the country down for COVID.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those things where it's like I couldn't get out. I couldn't go meet anybody or do anything. So it's like, well, let's talk some football. And then it just kind of grew. And now I'm grateful that I took the time and put the effort in to really do it, because it's becoming such a major part of my life, and it's so much fun this year, especially. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. You got to love the positives that came out of that shutdown. I was like yourself. I had an accounting business and the work just wasn't there. So dove fully into this industry, and I couldn't imagine not doing it. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Absolutely. Now it's like it's actually more of my job than my job. So I 100% get where you're coming from.
It's fantastic. Now, who was your basketball team then? Did you cheer for the Raptors?
No, actually. So my favorite player as a kid was Magic Johnson. So kind of by default, I'm a Lakers fan. But after him, Penny Hardaway was my favorite player. So I kind of rooted for the Orlando Magic for a long time. And then when he went to Phoenix, and I kind of followed Penny. But if I have to be loyal to a team, it's the Lakers.
I think there's a lot of people with that love for the Lakers because of Magic Johnson. Any love for the Miami Heat?
I love the Heat. So when I was younger, I used to love Alonzo Mourning. He was
okay.
And then actually Tim Hardaway. It was a ton of guys when I was younger that it was like, hey, this is the team. But I didn't like them when they were the Heatles. I guess that's what they call them, when LeBron and all those. I didn't like them because it just felt like I don't know. It just felt unfair. Just completely felt unfair. But now that he's with the Lakers, it's like, oh, LeBron's my guy. I love him. So yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I can't wait for the basketball season to kick off. That's right around the corner. Are you going to be talking some basketball as well once that starts?
Yes, this year I'm absolutely going to make sure I include some basketball, because I think this year the league, it feels like the competition is spread out more than it's been. And so I think it's going to be an exciting year. And if you're a basketball fan, it's one of those years where you can watch more than just your team. I think Ja Morant is making some noises with his team. I think we could go down a list, but I mean, I just feel like the competition amongst the NBA this year is just going to be better to watch more games.
It's going to be fantastic. Now let's talk about what you're doing with the Buffalo Rumbling there. What have you got going on? I know you have a podcast. What else is happening?
So actually, I'm a host of the Code of Conduct podcast, and then I'm a co-host for Hump Day Hotline that airs Wednesday nights with Joe Miller, and then Saturdays we're actually going to be bringing another show back called The Chop Up, and this one's a little different. It's obviously still football, but we're going to use a lot of hip hop analogies to explain how we feel about the games and the teams. So it's just trying to kind of merge two worlds of hip hop and football, two things that I love very much, and it's going to be great. It's going to be a good time.
I love that concept. No one is doing that right now. I love that you're starting a new look for a show. That sounds fantastic. And then I have to tell you, watching that Hump Day Hotline, I love how you throw out that Hump Day and scare your co-host there. So
I love it.
You bring great energy to the show. It's fantastic. You guys, if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do over at Buff Rumblings on Twitter. Now, Spence, let's talk more about growing up. What did make you a sports fan? We said you loved basketball to start, but who was your influence there?
Honestly, so my father's a pastor. He didn't like sports at all. Sundays, like it was church, and he
Absolutely.
just wasn't into sports. And I can say the same about my grandfather. But what ended up happening was just going to school and being around some friends and wanting to participate in things. And I got good at basketball at a young age. I was pretty good. I couldn't shoot that well, but I could dribble and pass. So which is why I kind of loved Magic. I know he could shoot too, but I started to try and figure out how to be a good point guard. And then from there, it just kind of just sports took over baseball. Then Buffalo at the time, when I was younger, our hockey team was pretty good. We had
Okay.
Dominic Hasek, and we had some good players. So Buffalo, we always seem to have some good guys come through, and we just never win a championship. But it allowed me to fall in love with the players and the team. So no, I really any sport. I just love sports. I think for me the reason why I love the sports the most is because um, I think sports and music are two things that really cross every barrier. So whether it's
Absolutely.
all the negative isms of the world, so sexism, racism, like all of those things, I think when it comes together for sports and for music, you kind of just forget about it all. And men and women hang out and cheer for their team or boo against the other team. Uh, you know, Different races come together, and it's not about race. It's all about, hey, we're here for this team. So I think I love it for the unity.
Yeah, it really does unite everyone together when they're cheering for that team. Where did the love for the Buffalo Bills come from?
I'm just born in Buffalo, and so I was born in '86. So when they went to the Super Bowls those 4 years, I was between like 6 and 10. So I wasn't really old, but just I remember how that time was, and the older I got, we got some other players that I kind of fell in love with, Doug Flutie, and CJ Spiller has always been one of my favorite running backs, and so just like I said, just having that Buffalo attachment to it, it just took over. And now, even now, moving to Phoenix it's nothing like Buffalo. A lot of people here, but there's not a lot of Cardinals fans like there are Buffalo Bills fans back in Buffalo.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the pleasure of interviewing Mark Maddox before. He
Yeah,
played for Buffalo in those years. Absolutely fantastic player. So I'll have to connect the two of you because you guys would be great doing a show together for sure. He was a
he's
star
awesome.
in those Super Bowl games.
Yeah, yeah, Mark is awesome. I actually had him on, I think last summer or the summer prior, but
Oh, you
I
did?
absolutely
Awesome.
should reach out to him again. He's an awesome guy. He has a great charity out here in Phoenix that he
Yeah.
does a lot of things for women, a lot of things for young people who just don't have some of the resources that others have. Mark Maddox is a great guy, absolutely
Yeah,
great.
he absolutely is. I love that we have that connection with him together. So fantastic tie to the Buffalo Bills there. Now let's look at your Buffalo Bills for this season. They
Yes, let's do it.
are on a freaking mission here. Josh Allen just looking like MVP, steps above every single other person. What are your thoughts so far this season?
Well, the first game there, he had a couple things that he did that wasn't, Bills fans in the first half. We weren't too happy with the one interception. It was his fault. The first one wasn't, but you don't like to see two interceptions. But he cleaned that up this next game. We absolutely came out and made the Tennessee Titans look like they didn't belong in the same league as us. And I'm hoping that this is how we play every week. But it's a week to week league, and you know how it goes. But so far, everything that we've seen out of the Bills, Josh Allen is, like you said, he looks MVP. He looks the part. The defense looks the part. We look even better than last year, and we have the number one
Absolutely.
defense last year.
Absolutely. As a Buffalo Bills fan, how heartbreaking was that coin flip last year?
Well, okay, so personally, it didn't bother me as much, but I think doing the content has taken a certain sting away, which I
Yeah.
hate. Like in a way, I kind of wanted to have that heartbreak like everybody else, but I kind of took a step back and I looked at it from the perspective of, just overall in sports history. I feel like history repeats itself, and when you look at like the Bulls of the 90s. They weren't the Bulls of the 90s until they beat the Detroit Pistons. When you look at like we can talk even Peyton Manning, he didn't get his until he finally could beat the Patriots in the playoffs, and they had to get through Tom Brady. And so I just think it comes to a certain point where it's like, okay, for Josh Allen, it was Patrick Mahomes. And I think for Justin Herbert, I think for, there's going to be a couple guys where Josh Allen is going to be that doorkeeper. So right now, I think it's the Buffalo Bills time. I think we have a window here where we can kind of make some noise. But then, hey, you got some teams that are going to come. I think the Chargers are one, like I said.
Yeah.
So I just think, for me, I take it that way. But Buffalo was hurt. Buffalo's heartbroken. We don't like the number 13. We don't want to hear 13 anything.
Oh, and I'm with you. I'm a Chargers fan, diehard fan. So
Okay.
we want everyone to beat Kansas City. Do you think that
Yes.
loss, though, will make you guys stronger for this season? It definitely looks like it so far.
I think that it has. I think from speaking to some of the players on interviews and just talking to some people around the building, I think that the attitude that the team is bringing this year is okay. You know, that we should have won, and not only should we have won, now we want to dominate teams. We want to. I think Von Miller said it the other day. He's like, well, now it's not just about winning. You know, we want to win, but we want to come out and we want to dominate every snap, and we want to make sure that other teams know this team is a dominating force. So I think they have. I don't think that they're looking ahead. I don't think that they're looking at week 7 or the playoffs. Every single week they're getting up and they're getting ready for these games, and they're saying this is our Super Bowl every week. We want to destroy whoever's lining up across from us.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. They're playing, like not taking their foot off the pedal at all, like we see some teams do, which allows that backdoor cover. This team is out to just, like you said, completely dominate in these games.
Yeah, and it's looking good. We have a couple injuries for this weekend, but our All-Pro Micah Hyde is out this week, and I believe I saw Jordan Phillips is out as well, one of our defensive tackles. But I'm still pretty confident. You know, Jordan Poyer is All-Pro as well. We got some good rookie cornerbacks out there that have by far played better than anybody in Buffalo would have thought, and then our linebackers have stepped up. So I'm not too worried about the defense this week, but I'm looking forward to just seeing us dominate. I'm just looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think you guys probably will in this matchup versus Miami again. This is only a 5.5-point favorite here for you guys going into Miami. What are your thoughts on this game? Do you guys think that the defense will be able to get to Tua and shut him down?
Absolutely. I think so. So Buffalo, we blitz the least in the entire league, but we lead the league in sacks. So what that means is our front four, you know, we rotate guys in, we're fresh. So it's not one of those things where throughout the game, guys get tired. You have Von Miller coming back in the fourth quarter and he's fresh. It's like he's only played one quarter. So what that does is it allows us, even if we have Micah Hyde out the game and we don't have Trey White in yet, it allows us to drop 7 back in coverage as opposed to having to bring extra guys to get to Tua. And, you know, I think when you look at how the Miami Dolphins have ran their offense this year against blitz, they've done pretty well. But the problem is we don't have to blitz. So I don't know if he'll be able to get the ball to his receivers the way he's been doing it. You know, and that's what I'm banking on as far as our defense.
Yeah.
As far as our offense, I'm really just not even like our offense is just, I'm not worried at all.
Absolutely. There's no question marks on your offense as long as you just get that ball flying. Von Miller, he's a difference maker on that team. Do you think Miami's faced anyone as strong as Von Miller yet?
This year, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, no, I don't think, because the Patriots typically have some good pass rushers and things, but they don't have a Von Miller. And then last week with the Ravens, again, I love the Ravens. So this is with all respect to every player on that team. I still just don't see defensively. I don't think that they have a Von Miller on that defensive line. So no, I think when you look at the games that they've played, the first game against the Patriots, it didn't look like Miami was what we were promised over the summer. Yeah. And then even this last week, the first half of the game, they didn't look good against the Ravens. And then the second half, I'm trying to be respectful, but I feel like the Ravens made more mistakes than the Dolphins won the game. And they ended up winning because of, but it's very impressive that their head coach, first-time head coach, made those adjustments, but there's a lot of mental errors. There were a lot of plays where, you leave Tyreek Hill open like 15 yards. He's going to score a touchdown.
I don't know what defense was thinking. I do not know what the defense was thinking. It was like a complete breakdown in that fourth quarter there for them. Spence, it was an absolute honor to have you here today. Can you let everyone know where they can find you on social media, as well as following all the shows and podcasts that you have?
Absolutely. So on Twitter, you can follow me at JSpenceTheKing. Same on Instagram. I need to get involved with TikTok and all these other. I'm noticing that I'm missing so many people. So I'm going to get involved in those spaces soon. And when I do, I'll make sure I link those on Twitter. But right now I'm mostly active there. And then my show, like I said, Code of Conduct is Tuesday nights. Hump Day Hotline is Wednesday nights with Joe Miller. And then Saturdays will be the Chop Up with Antoine Staley and Sterling Furrow.
Awesome. And where can people find all of those shows? SB Nation?
Yes, SB Nation. You can find them on Buffalo Rumblings Podcast Network. You can, and that's on whatever platform you use, whether it be Apple Music or Spotify. We do go live on YouTube. So for all these shows, they are live and then they're posted as podcasts. So if you want to join in on the fun when we're live and join the chat and have some fun with us, please do.
You guys absolutely want to check out Jay Spence the King. I got to call you by your full Twitter handle.
Thank
You guys make sure you go give him a follow. He's got great shows, always entertaining, always informative. Keep crushing it, Jay Spence, and I can't wait to have you on again.
Thank you. And I have to get you on the Code of Conduct soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Thanks, guys. I'll be back in the next couple hours with another Joe Madden Sports podcast.